Welcome back. And here we are, we're continuing on with Bill's track, and this is where we left off in the first video in this series. And Bill's track is pretty flat the whole way through, and it's full of water holes. There's nothing really that will get you stuck, apart from maybe there's a couple right at the very start that could be a bit deep. I didn't go in to test them out because I didn't want to have to get out and recover the vehicle in knee-high muddy water. And Bill's track just takes you to the T intersection, and if you turn left, it'll take you to Freeman's Road. Otherwise you can just follow it around, it'll take you back to the main road. Or you can take the turn off to steep track from Jenkins Road as well, which we won't be doing in this video, but we will be in part 3. And when you're heading down Bill's track, you're heading in the direction of going out to the reservoir, and for anyone that hasn't been out to the reservoir at TALLAROOK, it's worth a look. Good little spot to camp and have picnics, something to eat. Now there's a bit of controversy going on down that neck of the woods because there's a track that comes up from the Yea Road or Yea Seymour Road, and one of the landowners down there says that you can't go up there, that it's blocked off, but all the stuff you read from parks is that it's open, and there's a lot of people. It's causing a lot of controversy because it's one of the ways out, one of the very few ways out if you're at the falls and there's a huge fire or something, and because you're trapped in out that end, there's no other way out. So it'll be interesting to see where this controversy goes, because this is not just unique to accessing TALLAROOK State Forest. There's a lot of landowners that have bought property in the last 5 or 10 years that have got public access tracks on them that are just closing access off to the public, and and they're fire access tracks, but they just seem to be able to get away with it. But I think someone's going to take the fight up to this guy. From rumours I've heard, we sort of just live in a time where everyone's just trying to stop you from doing anything, and it doesn't seem to be any real right to be able to do it. These public access tracks around state forests is becoming a real hotbed issue, and it's the same thing with all those farmers that try and stop people from access to the rivers that run through the properties. There's absolutely no right to stop people accessing the river. That's just been public right forever, since day dot. But these days it's a real one of those things where I've got the money, who's going to stop me sort of attitude. And we all know how that turns out. There's definitely never been a time where standing up for your rights has been so important. And as you can see, this track here, even though it's got a lot of water holes in it, most of the big ones and that can just be bypassed like I've been doing the whole way down here. I mean, if you've got the 37s and you can rip into them and yeehaw all day long. But anyone can also come out just on their road tyres and cruise this pretty easily. Everyone's a winner on Bill's track. And here we are coming up to the intersection of Jenkin Road. I turned right here because I wanted to head back down to Main Road towards the entrance to Dam Track. And here we are now on Dam Track, probably about 600 metres into Dam Track. And it's also a loop track. So when it gets around to the dam, it then changes over to flat rock track, which takes you back up to the camping area, which is on Main Road. But it's got a real gnarly section in it, which we won't be doing this in this video, but we will be in the third in the series. And that drive from the dam up flat rock, there's got some really good sections in it that can really test the vehicle out. Big steep rocks, drop-offs. All the boys with the 37s love to come out here and hit it, but I'll show you what it's like to hit it just on the skinnies. I'm actually going to change over tyres here to summer tyres, so they'll just be a Bridgestone all-terrain, which take off a Troopy. I'll show you how it's done just in pretty standardish sort of vehicle on skinnies with one diff lock, and we'll hit the same section where all the big boys go with all the big tyres. And we'll give that small, light and agile and well balanced a bit of a crack at the same stuff. And as you could just see coming through that section there on the Michelin XZLs and the skinnies, they just bite down to that solid ground. And coming through there and through here, you can see it's slippery and it's off camber, so the big tyres just fill up full of mud and you can't clear them unless you accelerate, but you just end up sliding off and down into the water erosion. Much like what we've just done here, for example. And you can see that's really leaning over here. It's pretty hard to see it from the drone footage, but you can see when I go to take off here, it just leans straight over, wanting to go over. It's not going to go anywhere, but other than push the side of the car in. But that's why I come back and just showed, for example, and drove into the rut to show you just exactly how deep they are. You know, most of the time you should be staying in the ruts, but you know, with the 37s ripping them out the way they are, you can be skinny and win the race here on your skinnies, because you can stay out of the ruts without sliding into them. The problem is with so much rip and tear with the 37s, it's a lot of spots it's leaving not a lot of opportunity now, other than staying up out of the ruts and trying to drive them that way and just running the risk of falling in. Yeah, it's just getting really, really torn up. You can see there, if I went off up into the right side there, that would just be pulling you in even worse. It's just a big lean all the way in. But you can see here the skinny's just riding it beautifully. You could see when I was mucking around there with the car on the side how slippery it is. It's really, really slippery here. And that's that legendary Spin King coil suspension that come out with the classic Range Rover. It's the same platform underneath the Discovery ones. You can just see the way it just walks it up there. And that's why these things were copied by all the other people that make four-wheel drives as a side hustle. Some of the Japanese stuff, it took 25 years for them to copy. Put coil springs in, four-wheel disc brakes and all those good things that Spin King put in the original Range Rover Classic back in 1970. One of the things with the internet the way it is now, and they're replaying all the old ads from the 80s and, you know, the 70s and all different eras, but the 80s ones are a good laugh when you see them. I seen one for the 80s series the other day, and they were going on about their new Toyota with core suspension and, you know, ground braking and all this sort of stuff. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, that's unbelievable. I don't know how people perceived it at the time, but with the benefit of hindsight, and you know the history of how four-wheel drives come along, they might have been talking it up a little bit much there, because that was like 20 years after the Range Rover came out that led the way. And I mean, that's why everyone drives four-wheel drives today. The Range Rover was the thing that broke the original ground. And I know I shouldn't be shocked about there's no truth in advertising. That's the advertising motto, is there's no truth in advertising. But yeah, it's definitely interesting when you see some of the old ads from the 80s. Even some of those Listen Patrol ads are quite funny. Because it was at that time in the mid-80s that the Japs had a big 25-year catch-up and got into coil suspension. You know, even the old 80s, and I think there were drum brakes on the rear still. They took a long time to catch up. I mean, the Range Rover Classic, it was just an incredible vehicle. And with diff locks front and rear, there's nothing made today that can still get near it. Just an incredible vehicle. Small, light and agile, and extremely well balanced. You could just get the things in anywhere without them tipping over. And doing probably the first 3 or 4 years of serious four-wheel driving in series vehicles with leaf springs back in the day, when two-door Rangies started coming up real cheap, and you know, you could buy one for $500 or $1,000, and at that price you were out there and you were seriously testing it back in the day. And where you could get those things is just incredible, and you can get them in even further places when you're only paying $500 or $1,000 for them. But serious wheeling like that, and getting them onto angles that you just wouldn't have thought was possible, it just brings your skills up absolutely flat out. And the rangies, the early rangies, will never be beaten off-road. I mean, everything that's come since is just, been full of options, way overweight, way too big. It really is one of those vehicles I don't think that's ever going to be matched. The only thing that ever come close to it was the Discovery One, and the Discovery One's really basically a Range Rover Classic with a back door instead of a tailgate. It's just that package of small, light and agile that, they can just wheel all day long. And you could see this thing, no 37s, no portals, no this, no that. There's just no fashion accessories, and it'll just go wherever you want. And the biggest thing is, because it can do that without fitting any big tyres underneath it to get it to do it, it retains its balance. And with that having the balance the way it is, nothing can get near them. We're just coming down the last part of Dam Track before it comes to the intersection, Flat Rock Track. We'll just head down to the dam. Someone's taken the car in there for a bit of a swim and left it there. You'll see that coming up shortly. I'm not real sure what breed of vehicle it was actually. Someone might be able to make it out here as we go past and have a little look. I don't think even a raised air intake would have saved the day here. It's nice and deep. This is what would be the start of Flat Rock Track, and Flat Rock just takes you back to the main road. It's got a bit of a camping area up next to the main road there. Okay, and this is coming up to the tricky section here. And this is all private property off to the right here. And you can see, just working our way around here, this is probably a good view. You can see how it climbs up if you're looking off onto the distance on this track. And there's a bypass here, which you can sort of get a feel for it just up here. And this is a bit of a rite of passage for the 37 Brigade. And you can see already at the start of this, it's been trenched out. So it's going to be a challenge on the smaller tyres heading up into this. See, I've walked up onto the tops already. And now as you look up beside the car and up in front of the car, you can see the climb up. It's a bit of an optical illusion. It's steeper than it looks. And you can see the boulders that are in place at the front here. So you've really got to step down into these boulders at the front and head over these first two. But that's the end of this video, unfortunately. I'll see you on the next one, where we'll tackle this and the big rock shelves ahead.